an episode, the second episode in fact, of Art World Confessions. Now I started this just recently. It was an idea that I had actually for many years, and the first form it took was a book which was never published. It was a really big, unwieldy book. It was a book that I couldn't edit, and I didn't have the space emotionally to separate from the text in order to edit it well. So it's somewhere in some lost hard drive, I'm sure. But hopefully some of the stories that were in that book come back to me so that you can be entertained. I made this episode entitled Discretion is the Key, because I think one of the #1 traits of a good art dealer is discretion. You know, these are some big deals that happen between two people. A lot of money is exchanged for certain paintings in the art world, and two people who are working on stuff like this, they really have to trust each other. They have to trust each other in order to exchange those large sums of money, and they have to trust each other's artistic judgment that what they're buying is a good investment, or what they're buying will be, you know, the big art star, the next big art star, or whatever else it is that they discuss to justify paying ridiculous sums of money for art. In terms of the discretion thing, I mean, I was never one for discretion, and in fact I often overshared, which is, as you know, very often a very, very difficult trait to have. It can affect you badly, it can reflect badly on you, as well as not necessarily be the best thing in your own interest. But I think I figured out a way to get around it, and that's what we'll be doing here on the next couple episodes. I made a few notes, so I'll refer to them very quickly. In terms of discretion, yes, and I'm gonna have to cut that part and put it together again. In terms of discretion, I was thinking about not just the book, but that over the years I wanted to make this television show about art, and I hadn't figured out what the structure should be exactly. And here I am finally making this television show about art on YouTube. I think it's perhaps the best place to host it because there's such a huge audience, not just for art, but for everything. So hopefully I'll find my tribe here, which, you know, I'm really tired of all the other platforms, which are not only toxic, but they're not working. I mean, I don't know who they're working for if you're living some sort of unrealistic life, but they're not working for me. So I hope you follow me on this journey of discretion is the key. So when you think about all of the people who buy and sell art, let's think about, let's say, an example, a collector's wife on a yacht in the Mediterranean, let's say off of Saint-Tropez. And this collector's wife is a therapist, a psychiatrist, and she knows a certain art dealer who is hosting everyone on the yacht. And it comes up about, you know, people and what their mindset might be. And we theorize about, you know, all of us, what we might be suffering from in terms of mental health issues. And when we come to our host, of course, the very polite thing for the guest of the host to say is, "Oh, that art dealer, he's extremely healthy, extremely healthy." And I thought to myself, wow, you know, I guess it's the polite thing to say, but how could anyone looking at this person who was our host, how could anyone looking at him say in a professional capacity or even as a friend that he was very healthy? I mean, all the things that are necessary to build the career that he's built have come out of being extremely unhealthy. And I mean, a lot of practices in the art world are exactly that. They're unhealthy, but people do what they have to do in order to get business done. And I mean, when you think about how the whole society is structured, all of these things which affect us right now, whether it goes back to the environment, whether it goes back to mental health, whether it goes back to people who are homeless on the street, all of these things have come out of the fact that we've built a society which allows for mental health to run rampant in business. we couldn't do the things that we know will hurt us as human beings if we acknowledge the fact that what we're doing is unhealthy. But I'm not even going to get into the black and white here, even though I see it all the time in the art world in a certain group of people. And the women especially are more than happy to support all of the psychosis that goes on. And why do they support it? Because they benefit financially from this psychosis. I mean, to change it would mean that they lose the benefits of their financial well-being. And again, nobody wants to risk their financial well-being because that's all we have to survive in this capitalist system that we've built. So I haven't named any names today. I haven't really said much, as a matter of fact, but needless to say that some of the things that go on in the art world need to be kept discreet, because it's just not pretty. What happens sometimes between people in terms of deals and stuff like that, it's not pretty at all. And if you really dig deep into the essence of art, none of those things which we put forward as art for commerce has anything at all to do with art, has anything at all to do with the creative process or how works are supposed to be viewed or accessed in terms of enjoyment for people, in terms of helping people to evolve, not just themselves, but as a society. I mean, part of art is this whole idea that you are able to transform not just what you're working on, but transform yourself, transform your thinking, transform your society. And as the art world is structured right now, it's not a very healthy place. Just the other day I was speaking to another independent dealer, and she was like, and I've heard this from many women, as a matter of fact. I mean, I'm taking a break right now for many reasons, including just the creative ideas I had in the last few months. But she was like, oh my God, you know, this is just too tough. I've just taken a break from this because it's really, really hard. And it's not easy. And many people in 2008, I know many people who were art consultants, they just went back to whatever they were doing before, fashion or finance or law or whatever else they're doing. And that's another thing. So many of these art world people are coming from other fields which have nothing to do with art. But they're really important because they work in the art business, the business of art. So anyways, I don't know if that's enough about the key is discretion, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want to hear another rambling episode soon, let me know by subscribing and hitting the bell notification button. I may at some point start scripting these so that I'm not all over the place in terms of the subject matter, but I have a few ideas, and like I said, this is a work in progress, so every episode will probably be getting better based on what went right and what went wrong in the last episode. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed my Pocahontas hair. You know, I was told once by Jeffrey Deitch, he may not remember this, but it was at a dinner, and he said, oh Nicolette, you know, the reason you have such a hard time in the art world is because you're so subversive. And I know what he means. I mean, even this episode, the key is discretion, it's like this hair, Pocahontas hair, everything I do is a bit subversive, because you know what, at the end of the day, in order for progress to happen, there must be radical change. I think in my new book, let me see, I have a quote here from Dubuffet, and I really love this quote because it really captures the essence of art. He says, art by its very essence is of the new, and views on art must also be of the new. There is only one healthy diet for the artistic creation: permanent revolution. I mean, you know, you love this guy, not just from his work, but when he writes stuff like that, how his mind works. So I'll take this opportunity to plug my book as well, The Tree of Enlightenment, The Seeds of Enlightenment. And you can look at the other videos on the channel to find out where this book came from and why I wrote this book. But it really is a story about my own personal journey and my journey in art as well. So check it out. If you go on to Amazon, you'll see 2 other books. I mean, they are children's books, but they're also worth reading for adults because they're dealing with adult topics in the context of, in a way that children can understand. And at the end of the day, adults are only grown-up children, and nobody knows that better than people in the art world. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. I hope to see you again on the channel, and have a great week.